Hi, Heiki.
Hello.
Hello. So, yeah, they finished the morning, and now it's time to. I'm Dan from the Brewers Association of Serbia. Welcome to our conference, and
Thank you.
I'm glad that you join us and want to share your knowledge with us in your field. Okay, can you tell us a bit more about you so we better get to know you?
Yeah. Well, as many brewers, I started as a home brewer, and gradually my passion about beer grew into this profession of brewing. So yeah, I've been working in brewery, in Prva brewery since 2016, and which was also the start of our own factory. So before this, our head brewer Eero Mandar was also a home brewer, and he gained a lot of popularity with his peers, and he had this idea that he has to really share this good stuff with other people. So there were some time that we have operated as a gypsy brewery. So few years passed, our beers got more and more popular, and I think we were the first brewery in Estonia who made very good IPAs. And yeah, so it didn't take much long, and we opened our own brewery in southern Estonia. And we started to produce a wide variety of products, from Berliner Weisses, IPAs, porters, and of course, barrel-aged beers. So I'll introduce a little bit our barrel-aged program. It also started since the beginning, like even before we were able to legally produce. So we had this one barrel of Lafroy, and then we aged that for about 10 months, and we were very happy with the result. So we decided that we have now confidence to increase the volume. And the increase was quite gradual. Our first barrel-aged batches were 5 hectoliters, and we slowly grew them into 40 hectoliter batches. So at the moment we have 79 barrels aging in our cellar, total volume about 172 hectoliters. And we are using quite wide variety of barrels, from the classic bourbon to some different types of whiskey barrels, and our one of the specialities rum barrels. Our Estonian distributor is doing quite good job providing us some quite exotic rum barrels, such as Barbados from Jamaica and Guatemala and so on. And yeah, we have basically we have our different line of rum barrel aged beer. So yeah, and we also have used cognac barrels, portwood whiskey barrels, some different type of port wine barrels, such as Oloroso, Moscatel. And my little speciality is the wild ales, and there I mainly use wine barrels such as Chardonnay, Merlot, and of course some different kinds of port wine style barrels. And we have done some cool experiments, like barrel aged IPA, and we were most happy with the tequila barrel at that point. So how did we develop our barrel aged program? As I mentioned before, it all started with one barrel of Lafroig. And there was lots of anxiety evolving, like will it leak, and we were really intensely making sure it doesn't leak, applying a lot of water and so on. But yeah, at the end of the day, we were very happy what came out. So, and then we, yeah, as I mentioned before, we started to increase our production values, volumes of our barrel aged beer program, because there seems to be also like growing demand for them at the moment. And yeah, you spoke probably also something about our region, like I guess most of you are familiar with the style Baltic Porter, which by legend started in Baltic countries, or a little bit in England, or yeah, history. So we started to grow, but it wasn't so smooth ride. We had some challenges. So I think the first one was to, what beer shall we put in a barrel? Because we found out that not all beers were created equal in the sense. And of course, the next one is the barrel maintenance. How to make sure that the beer that we put into the barrel doesn't just leak on the floor and we lose all the product, or the barrel like is infected, or it gets like heavily oxidized. And yeah, and then we had a bit of a learning curve about racking and racking devices, like what kind of devices to use, and finding the right pressures and so on. And I guess the next challenge was about aging time, because there wasn't much of the experience about like how does the beer age in a barrel. So this is also the thing we have to learn. And again, I have to mention the barrel quality, which can also vary dependent on the type of the barrel, and of course, where to buy this barrel from. So, finding the right beer. I can tell you a little bit about our experience. So, I think the first component I'm going to talk about is the amount of alcohol in a beer, high alcohol versus low alcohol. So, we've been most happy with beers which are at least 10%, and anything below haven't made us that happy. And the second component I have to mention is the final gravity. And again, a little bit the same thing, that we prefer the beers that are a little bit higher in the final gravity, as the barrel seems to make the beer a bit thinner. I guess it's kind of the function of the how to say, yeah, well barrel adds some booze into the beer, of course. So if your ABV increases a bit, then of course your FG has to lower a bit. And the next one is the color. And we have more success with beers that are on the very dark side of the color spectrum. And we've been a little bit struggling with barley wines, and we have made some experiments with oat wines, but we are getting there. So, yeah. Our experience about barrel maintenance. So, first problem are the leaks. As I mentioned before, it makes your brewery dirty, and of course you lose good product and can invite in all sorts of problems, starting from the oxygenation and airborne beer spoilers. And yeah, and the thing that has helped us the most is good moisturizing program to swell the oak staves, so there wouldn't be any more cracks. And of course, we use lots of wax, special barrel wax, to seal all the critical parts. Yeah. And the next problem is more like annoyance are the fruit flies. When you get leaks, then you will invite some insects in. So we had to make sure that our barrel room is as clean as possible, and we clean up all the dripping beer as fast as possible. And we also have installed several fly traps. Still looking for the full working one. Okay. Yeah. Okay. And also the thing that helps us to prevent leaking is tightening of the hoops, which can be a little bit tricky without the proper tools. But we finally found a good hoop driver, and it has helped us a lot. Okay, now the racking case. The question is, how do you get this beer out from the barrel? So it could be transferred into the fermenter or the bottling tank or whatever. Yeah, there is also, like in market, very different products with very different quality and stuff. And also you have to be mindful about the right size. So as I mentioned before, we had some issues with racking length and also the bunk diameter. So when we used 5 hectoliter barrels, we found quickly that our small racking cane just wasn't enough. With lots of work and some MacGyver style stuff, we were able to get it out, but we bought a more suitable racking cane for this kind of application. So yeah, and of course it's very good to have a safety valve on the barrel, because yeah, unfortunately I have to say that we had one exploding barrel. Yeah, it was there was apparently some kind of clog in a racking cane, and this certain type of the racking cane didn't have no pressure release valve. So we gathered the pieces from all over the brewery, and luckily no one was hurt. But it was a very good lesson. Be careful. Yeah. And now the aging time. So first I would say we do no barrel aged beer less than 10 months. And we rarely even sample them before. And I think the usual is like 12 to 14 months. And sometimes it even has taken us 2 years. Yeah, and it was quite quite interesting thing to learn, like how the beer ages in barrel, what kind of changes appears there. Like we have this theory that the spirit flavor component and the oak flavor component, they kind of arrive at different times. So sometimes we get like huge spirit flavor, whatever it is, bourbon, whiskey, and this nice woody, little bit vanilla, coconut character from the barrel, from the barrel itself, from the wood itself. It arrives a little bit later. Yeah. And we've recorded also the changes that happen with barrel-aged beers. And it's surprisingly, or not so surprisingly, we saw a bit of drop in pH, in final clarity. And pH, on the other hand, can increase a bit. So that's why we sometimes compensate that thing, especially this final gravity drop, with a little bit stronger beers. And one discovery that helped us a lot was the final aging in stainless steel. It really calmed the beer down. It's like all these harsh tannin notes or these overly woody aspects and all these things, they started to fade out quite quickly, like in 1 week to 2 weeks. And now this is in our standard procedure that we always age our barrel-aged beers in stainless steel first. Yeah. And then there is also this creativity part, because it is kind of trend in craft beer brewing to add some extra flavors, to make the product more interesting and to find things that would play well with barrels. So it's like we've been experimenting with different natural flavorings, and of course spices like tonka beans and vanilla. And I guess one of our most far-fetched experiment was with beetroot juice, which was very successful. Yeah, it like produced some very nice red color in the foam and really enhanced kind of wine flavor. So yeah, I have to first, not first, but at the end I have to excuse, we weren't that much prepared for this meeting, as the person who had to do it fell ill. But yeah, I'm happy to answer some questions if there are any. Hello?
Hello, Heiki.
Hello.
I hear you.
Yeah?
Hey, hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, I think we have a little bit of delay, but
So yeah, I'm basically finished with my little presentation, and
Are we waiting now? But as you said earlier on, if you were on, we didn't have many questions from our fellows. They're not really willing to talk much. So basically, mostly I'm talking, and really I have no any question about that subjects because we never did it. This barrel thing, and we didn't try it. So really, we thought about it a few times, but we never decided to try to to innovate it.
Give it a try. It's very exciting, and
maybe now if you encourage us, with this your experience, maybe we'll decide with some small bench to try to see how it works and what you'll get it.
Yeah, find cool barrels and find cool beer and age it enough. So.
And you get barrels out of some producers or these products, whiskeys or wines or whatever. You use it or?
Your question is, where do we get our barrels?
Sorry?
Your question was, where do we get our barrels? Or?
Yes, you get used barrels out of other producers of other spirits or something.
There are like couple different places where we get them, like some companies in Finland, from Germany, and from Portugal, and we don't get them directly from the spirit or wine producers.
This is a company actually in between. They're dealing with the barrels already.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there any? I think if it's not any questions, I think it's not. I will not hold you. So, if the questions come by typing or something, I can forward it to you and you can answer it to us, if you don't mind.
Yeah, sounds great.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.